So this is my blindfolded world record for the Kirby Forgotten Any percent. So it's been like what, 2 or 3 months since I've done this run. I haven't practiced in a long time, so this is actually a good way to refresh on myself before I start even practicing more. But honestly, I've been meaning to do some kind of commentary on this run for a while. Um, so we're just gonna do it. I'll probably do a more official video next time whenever I eventually hit my sub 2 hours. But in the meantime, this is my current best run so far. And yeah. So before I even begin the videos, there's a lot to take in as a blindfolded runner. So the first thing is, um, in this game, it's a 3D game. So it's not simple as just jumping left, right, and making sure that you know where you're going. There's a lot of weird dynamic movement you have to be wary of. And the movement is just kind of awkward at times just because you don't know exactly when you land on the ground. So sometimes there's variance in movement and any of my runs. So no matter what, um, whenever I do make mistakes, there's always going to be some kind of shift in figuring out what the situation's happening. But anyways, I'm gonna go into this run, and then I'll just talk as I go. So spring breeze mode. This is a typical any percent thing that you do in all the runs. Your whole entire goal is to make sure every single level is faster, and spring breeze mode makes the end of levels faster because you don't get any coin notifications, which is the loss of time. But first things first, like in visual percent, you change your control settings to turn off auto swallow. Basically, you don't want to inhale abilities and automatically get the abilities. Sometimes you want the option to spit them. And right here, slide hopping, just like in normal visual percent. The difference is when you're doing this movement, I have to remember a lot of numbers. Sometimes I forget my numbers in the middle of the runs, and I kind of just do it based off how I feel. And that's usually because I have so much experience with visual percent runs that I end up just um, foregoing the number counting and just kind of going based off how I feel. So there's a lot of muscle memory in these visual runs, because in this blindfolded runs, because there's actually a lot of overlap between visual and any percent runs. There's just a little bit of like nuances, such as right here, I get on the ladder, and I do some dodge rollings and slide hops to position myself. And I think I'm a little bit off center, just because of that bomb hit, but either way, I think I'm fine. And all of that right there is just memorization of how many slide hops I've been doing. So slide hops themselves are actually semi-normalized movement. Sometimes, depending on when you jump, you will have different distances. But overall, it doesn't make too much of a difference in a lot of sections in the game. So it's not a big deal. Sometimes you have to do like an extra one or an extra two just to be safe. But otherwise, um, yeah. And then right here, I'm doing some beat counting. So listening to this music, I'm listening to the beats of the song, and then I'm counting it. So when I get to a certain part, so going back here, I'm listening for a coin audio cue. So right here, I'm hitting this coin, and then I do 12 counts to the right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then I go up. I also counted a little bit late, so I'm just going to jiggle a little bit to the left. And Joshua Bomb Happy is already explaining it for me, that he's doing minor adjustments. Is bad. But I have changed that one a little bit so that I have more diagonal movement. So that one's slightly faster, but otherwise, degrading terminology. The result is still the same. I'm still optimizing it even right now. Whenever I grab that coin, and I might even get in on optimizations from this later on as well. And then this one's pretty easy. I mean, you just know exactly where all the wolfies spawn. So just like visual percent, the hardest part is just making sure you're in the center of the arena. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to inhale all those wolfies. And I feel like I'm talking really fast because I'm really trying to make sure that all the information's coming out. Right there, just memorization of how many text boxes come out before I actually grab onto the warp star. And then here's 1-1. I think in this run, this is actually where I get the turtle skip, which we'll see eventually at the end of this level. But right here, so slide hopping has a auto target radius that will hit enemies if you're close enough to them. So right there, if you look back at it, I actually jump on the third part right here. If I went for a slide, I actually would have had a high chance of hitting that at Woofy, so I actually went ahead and forgoed jumping at all, just so I could, or sliding, just so I could make sure that I don't bonk into him, because that is a time loss. And then here, normalizing myself into a corner to grab onto this tree, to skip some movement, and just allows me to keep on going. And then here's another setup right here. I jump upright, doing 4 dodges, just making sure that this is all the amount I need to grab onto the warp star. And then same here. I think this one just has a lot of audio cues. So I heard the woofy, so I know how to jump over it. I hear the cones, so I slide up. And I hear the cutters, so I know I do 2 slides and then a dodge upright. Slide up, and then 3 slides up left? Yeah. I think I did an extra up. I wasn't supposed to. But it doesn't really matter over the course of the run in terms of like getting to the place that you need to get to, because as long as you kind of know where you are with your visual map, there's just a lot of walls that you can't fall off of, so you can still glide along them to achieve the same result. Maybe it's a little bit slower, but it's Kirby. It's hard to get lost until in later levels.
I messed up right here. Hopefully I don't mess it up this time. 2, 1, 2. There we go. That's what was supposed to happen last time.
Yep, and that was a very easy wild edge. You just count 1, 2, 1, 2, and you're good to go. And then here, you do 10 slide hops. Sometimes I do 11 just because if I have a feeling that I've been jumping too early, I just make sure that I have that 11th one so that I know I'm on top of the trash can.
It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, so right there, that was 11. I just made sure just to make sure. And dodging upright or dodging right allows you to just skip a bunch of staircases for movement, which is very nice. And then here is the attempt at turtle skip. I think I get it during this run, so we'll see. This is a frame perfect trick. Boom. Yeah, I'm not freaking out. That is actually my first time doing the turtle skip in a blindfolded setting. With the frame perfect one. That one's really hard to get. I don't think I'm ever going to replicate that for a while unless I practice it hardcore. But yeah.
So that wasn't the perfect one, because the perfect one is when you do the cone attack, you don't land on the building, you actually just straight up kill toward building right there. But like, it's been a while since I've gotten a perfect turtle skip blindfolded.
True.
Oh my lord.
Agreed.
I don't know how much time that saves, but I think that's actually my first time doing it in a real run.
Yeah, 23 seconds is pretty nuts.
Oh my lord. Oh.
That's actually a lot of time. What the hell?
You know what? I gotta hand it to you. What's your name again? Hero? Maybelline? Hero maybe? Yeah, Hero maybe? Yeah. It's all you. You gave me a...
So you're right there. Counted dodges. I do 5 right
maybe?
here.
Yeah, Hero maybe? Yeah. It's all you.
And then slide upright into inhale.
You gave me a audience luck. Instead of commentator's curse, audience luck. That's what you gave me.
And then that was an accidental bonk. I wasn't supposed to do that, but it's fine. And then I'm a little bit off key right here. So I was supposed to do a fire off of the ladder, but the results are still very similar. So I haven't really lost too much. And you can see there, I got confused why I fell down. It's because I was missing that fire. But either way, like I'm still in a good spot. And a lot of this, especially with cycles. So this is probably the first room with cycles.
I'm supposed to slide there.
You really need memorization here, because otherwise you're never gonna hit the cycles. And basically right now, what I'm doing is Oh, that's unlucky.
Okay. Backup fire.
I'm basically trying to hit the visual percent cycles, which I almost did get if I didn't get hit by the hothead. But otherwise, it's not a big deal. It's probably like a 7-second loss for missing that cycle. And yeah, just into the door. And then right there, I actually hugged that wall that I jumped up to, just so I could line myself up. Just making sure to move a little bit right and a little bit left, just so I can dodge that sign so I don't bonk into it. But it all lines up perfectly for me to go into the doorway. And right there was an attempt to jump on top of the metal bench, but I wasn't able to hit it, so I just have to float for it. I'll memorize movement right here. And then I do an uplift just to make sure I know I'm in that corner next to the staircase, and I'm able to skip the staircase staircase mouthful mode. And there we go. Very simple. That is
Okay, well,
the
aside
world
from missing that cycle,
1-2.
not bad, not bad.
It was a little bit messy, but otherwise, I would consider that pretty good. And then on to 1-3. So 1-3 is probably one of my most practiced levels, because this level is very tough, I would say. The cycles in this room are very tight, even in a visual setting. Like if you end up doing one bonk, if you take too long getting to the ladder, you're gonna miss a cycle. So being able to match that visual percent is very difficult. So this is all memorized movement right here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to hit the cycle that I wanted. Yep. So all those jumps are important. Making sure to get onto the ladder. And right there, that's a very tight cycle. And here's another tight cycle right here. And it looks like I made the perfect cycle. I think I was actually a little bit too fast for once. And
was I too fast?
Yeah. I was a little bit too fast. Usually I'm a little bit slower than that on all my other runs. But I was able to hit a boulder that didn't make sense.
Okay, I know where I'm at now.
So I'm a little bit lost trying to figure out the cycles again, but after this point, I don't have to worry about cycles anymore, aside from the Kirby section that is coming up real soon. So just like the first Kirby section in this game, I'm doing beat counting once again. So I'm listening to the song, making sure that I know what beat I'm at, or I guess the timing of it. And so you notice every single time I usually do beat counting, I'll start bobbing my head. So like right now, I'm bobbing my head. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, upright, then right, and then down, and then right, then up. And then usually I bonk into this boulder. I don't really care too much about that. So then I just count again. I bonked into this boulder. So this is 4, and then 4 again, and then this is up. And I let go at 10, and then I go up at 10, and then this is 6, upright, and then that part is really hard. I don't mind bonking because the Kirby's dashing animation actually has a humongous hitbox. And so combined with 2 big boulders, all you have to do is just let go of the boost and you lose your hitbox of the boosting. So it makes it easier for you to pass the boulders if you start bonking into them.
Maybe it's just better for me to wait. But then there's a second rock, I think, afterwards, right? Oh, right. I go up and then up left. That's what I usually did.
And yeah, it looks like I'm just talking to myself about how inaccurate my beat counting was, but honestly, that was a very solid Kirby section, despite my criticism. More memorized movement. This is also another good case of camera movement. So the camera is like kind of angling a little bit weird, but as long as you know your angles with your control stick, it's not a big deal. And this is all memorized movement. I used to listen based off audio cues, but after a certain point, I just started getting used to having like this muscle memory movement that worked out better for me. And because of that, It also makes me do efficient movement because I don't have to listen for an audio cue, and instead I just focus on my own inputs, and then it works out. But of course, audio cues still help me from time to time just to register that I'm still in the right area. It still allows me to um, know that I'm doing a good job, or just being able to figure out where I am if I mess up. Because I'm pretty sure in this run I've messed up maybe like once or twice, and I just had to make up with it by trying to figure out where I am.
There you go. That's way better.
And honestly, MVP, the fire is amazing. Fire helps me out with the movement so much because it's very normalized. The fire dashes all have the same length, so you can always expect to be at a certain spot depending on how many fire dashes you do.
Oh.
And so, because of that, it's a really big MVP just because it really helps out figuring out where you are and also being able to get to places in a very organized fashion. Because right now, I am using a GameCube controller that is the Switch version because it has the two Z buttons. And because of the notches on the controller, it allows me to have perfect angles that I want. If I want up left, I want up right, I want up down, left right, it can give me anything. And I usually, in most of my movement, I rely on those angles. If I try and deviate from it, usually it messes me up, or I'm just trying to do some random micro adjustment. All right, and so off to the Gorimandu fight.
I could mostly just tell because
So Gorimandu, right?
and 1-3. It's only reason
This
I know.
part of
1-2
the
was
run
okay.
is
Maybe
very
just
easy.
cycle. Or you could
But there's gonna be something if you are familiar with the visual percent runners. Um, I'm gonna be doing something a little bit odd here. So we're gonna be climbing up the staircase, doing some memorized fire movement, and usually what happens is that you get ice, and then you just go to Gorimandu, you fight with ice. But now I'm grabbing sword and I'm grabbing bomb. This doesn't make sense because you're wasting time to grab the ability that you're supposed to be getting. But it's all completely intentional, and I'll start talking about that later on during the run. But Gorimandu ice, just like in regular runs, all you do is just tilt slightly forward and press B. Uh, in order to set up for this fight, it's very easy. The first part is you just do 2 slide hops forward. So right here, 2 slide hops. And then all you have to do is just do the ice attack. I also use the C stick to, to angle my camera down. That way you get less lag. Because apparently with so much ice on top of Gorimandu, if you have the full Gorimandu on the screen, it's going to lag the game. Which not only ruins your ice attack timing, but it also slows down your RTA timing. So it's a time gain either way. And right there, 3 freezes is all it takes to beat the boss. That's
that
it.
one was way better than my last one too.
Easy. And then nothing too special here, just a bunch of cutscenes. We go back to Waddle Dee Town, watch some more cutscenes. And then right here, Alphas tells you, hey, we need to do some armory shop stuff. So I'm going to drop ice here. I have already dropped it. And then you see my dodge rolls just so I can get into that door consistently. Sometimes it actually messes me up, but it's like a 90% consistency rate. And so right there, we talk to Weapon Shop D, and all I have to do is just grab fire. And just to be safe, if you want the easy strat, you just slide left twice. But it looks like I super overshot it for some reason. But the easy way is to slide left twice, and you are on fire. You won't accidentally get cutter, because that is a possibility that you can do. But yep, volcano fire, and then here's a regular setup. Whenever you leave the weapon shop, you dodge down right. I was trying to do something different, I guess. But yeah, you dodge down right, and then you just jump down, and then go into the warp star. And then this one, I'm very proud of this one. Maybe because it's very satisfying, but you do this one slide, 2 fires up right, and you just keep going straight. It's really easy. You just keep going straight, and you'll immediately, eventually hit that warp star. And so minor optimizations, being able to do triple fires when you're at higher elevation, but otherwise, warp star is all just a straight line. And then bonker skip, that's also pretty cool. It's very blindfoldable. The only problem with the blindfolded bonker skip is you don't know if you go out of bounds. You just have to hope that your inputs are right so that you're able to go out of bounds. And you can register it by hearing that wolf. And so hearing that wolf knows, you know that you made it past the spot and you're not stuck. There's the sand sculpture of Woofy. Very easy to get. And then this section right here is pretty easy too. You just do a little bit of some up movements a few times, but otherwise this is like, you're just going upright. Just upright fire. It's very easy. Just a few ups, just so you can adjust, because the angle is not perfectly upright, so just a few ups to kind of adjust yourself back to the angle that you need to be at. And then this one is also, this upcoming part is also my favorite setup, just because it is very straightforward. Just like in the beginning of 2-1, all you do is just set yourself up on a corner right here, and it's basically just a straight shot to the Waddle Dee. The Knockodile is kind of like fake news. It's not a real threat. It looks like it's a threat, but as long as you're just firing along, there's no way you're going to get hit by that Knockodile. And look at that. Straight shot all the way to the Waddle Dee. And then now we get on to 2-2. This one is very memorized. So you do an up left and you just keep on going straight. But I'm testing mid-run, just trying to see if it helps out a lot or not. But the biggest hazard of this part of this level is making sure that your movement with fire is proper. Otherwise, you're going to accidentally land into a whirlpool. And so a lot of this is just practice and memorization to make sure I have the right amount and to be able to hit these seabirds. Because if you don't hit the seabirds, you kind of get lost. You're trying to find them. So just because the nature of fire being a normalized movement, it's very easy to calculate what you need to get to a certain spot. And that, it will really go to show right here on the next section. So this section has a lot of cycles. So we have to make sure that we have the proper amount of fires. I know you can do a triple fire there, doing the right amount of slides to be in the right spot. And usually right here, you can easily fall. You can also easily mess up, because if you're too slow, you're not going to make the cycle. It's very tight to hit that last part of the cycle. And then here, I get drill, and I just drop it, and I get fire. That's weird. Same thing as before. I'll talk about it later, but basically with basically it's needed for later. Excuse me. All right. And then on to 3-3. All minor adjustments right here. So a little bit of an air drift to the right, and then you go up, just so you don't accidentally go to the center of the wall. It allows you to just ride along into the ladder, which is a lot better. And right there, I knew I had to slide. I knew I had to wait at this ladder. And the reason why is because when you're so familiar with these cycles, if you feel slow, you just have to wait. But if you feel fast, then you can actually just burst through that ladder without having any worries that those Gordos hitting you. And then this is a visual strat. This is really cool. I think I do it right on this run. We'll see. And so we grab ice. Oh. Oh, I don't think we're doing the fast strat anymore.
You know what?
But it's okay.
I didn't grab the ladder in time, so I'm just not going to bother with the fire.
But yeah, this is just freeze Florina. You just listen to the audio cue to make sure you have the freeze. And then you do the frost breath so that you can get that frost break damage once to shoot Florina to the second phase, which makes her a lot lower. It's a very common strat in visual percent, so nothing new there. Making sure to put myself in this corner over here so that I'm allowed to know where I am, and also to be able to set up an easy movement for Tornado. Because honestly, Tornado is very janky. Because if you don't know where you are with Tornado, you're going to have a hard time. Because if you bonk into anything, you lose control of the Tornado, and that's a problem. So even though I like to use Tornado, in my visual runs, when it comes to blindfolded, I try and avoid it as much as possible, but there are some sections where I definitely use it a lot. So I definitely have more of a mix of fire and tornado during a blindfolded run compared to my visual runs. And so Archmouth. So this one took me a while to get used to. So Archmouth sections are kind of weird because there's nothing to normalize. And so if you notice me, I'm doing random spin attacks. It's not because I'm an ADHD brain, but because it allows me to know how much I need to move a certain direction. So right here, I move twice in response to my spinning. It's a very mental thing for me that helps me know how much distance I'm traveling. And so with these adjustments of moving left, right, up, right, um, it helps me know where I am. And so right there, 2, 3 uprights, and it allows me to enter into this broken wall into a Waddle Dee. So it's just a way for me to kind of like semi-normalize it, just to make it make sense. That's how it goes for me. I just try to make Archmouth movement make sense by doing that. And so, very simple part right here, and you just do 2 slides and tornado, and that is the Waddle Dee. It's pretty simple stuff so far. Very hard to execute because you can't see the game. And this part's really easy. You just dodge up the whole entire time. Sometimes I'm listening for some audios. So here, I'm trying to be on the left side of that pillar. So I can hit that coin. I hit that coin, I can go upright. And at that point, you're in such a perfect position, there's no way you can mess it up most of the time. And you should be able to just glide along into the Cage Waddle Dee. It's very easy one. It just takes a little bit of setup. That's the important part, is that you need a little bit of setup in certain parts of the level so that it can set you up for success later on. And then this is the waterless fight. This one's very hard to do. I would not recommend anyone who tries to practice it, but if you can get the setup right, like how I'm doing it, it works out. The easy part is doing this section. So the first 3 waves are pretty easy. The hard part is getting this blipper, because with Tornado, you have to bounce back and forth. I guess another easy way you could do it is making sure you can...
Hey, I got lucky.
Making sure you can just re-juggle the tornado over and over again. Just keep inhaling. That's a very simple strat to do, but the hard strat is killing with tornado, with the blippers. Right here. Just to slide up right so I can set myself up to get that goldfish. Pretty easy. And right here is a count, so I make sure I know when to cancel my tornado. And it allows me to enter the doorway for free. And here I do water audio cue. I go that and it's upright. Once I hear the water, it basically is a straight upright into a button switch. It's very easy to do.
I forgot to jump.
And then you jump, and there you go.
Right, I was supposed to hit the blipper there.
And that one was not intentional for the buttons, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Water auto cue, I dodge, and I'm trying to do some wiggle movement there, but it was not successful, so I do a backup strat. I know I'm at the left side of the wall, so all I have to do is just go a little bit right, and then down for the button switch.
Well, a little messy, but whatever. That was a really good arena fight, though.
It was a good arena fight. It actually was a gold too.
I missed
And so this is this is one of the hard strats that I do. So visual runs, they do it. This is the Copulus Tropic Woods fight. This is definitely harder than just using Volcano Fire, which is offered to you right before the fight. But with Copulus Tropic Woods, it is very difficult, and I've tried doing consistent setups. Sometimes it still mess ups from time to time, or I don't get enough damage out. But either way, it's still pretty good. So I think this one is a decently successful one. I don't think it was perfect, but we'll see. So this is all practice movement right here, just making sure that I have the positioning that I want. And this one's cool. There's like a ghost coconut right there. So even though it disappears and breaks, you can still inhale it within a short amount of window. Very neat. And here, I put myself in that right side because that actually allows me to always be in the exact same position every single time when I get knocked back by Tropic Woods. And actually, it looks like this is a perfect fight so far. Okay. Yep. All practiced. A little bit of a jiggle to the left. That looks like a quad star. And there you go. Just a little bit of adjustments here and there to make sure that I don't mess up.
That was pretty hot.
And now I just have to make sure that I got Tornado there. It looks like I left Tornado alone, but actually if you inhale before the animation of the cutscene happens, you actually still get it in your mouth by the time the cutscene puts you back in front of the cage Waddle Dee. So yeah, that was actually a perfect fight right there.
Chef's kiss.
It does not happen that often, but that's a reason why this is my personal best / world record right now. So a lot of short cutscenes. You just do Wise Waddle Dee, and then now we get into 3-1. So the whole entire point of me doing that copyless fight in Tropic Woods is so that I can keep Tornado for World 3. Because it's very important to have Tornado here, just because there's a lot of skips towards the end of this particular level that is a lot easier on Tornado than on Fire. A little bit of a wait just so I don't get hit by that cycle right there. This part's a little bit sus. Tornado movement is not very consistent, honestly. So I'm just kind of making do with what I got and hope that I'm in the right spot. And also another problem is when you bonk into walls, you actually don't know you're bonking. So it's actually quite problematic when you're using Tornado a lot.
Fortunately,
Oh, that's it. And so,
fortunately,
great example right here that the reason why I want to use Tornado is because splitting platforms are a pain.
They don't affect.
Spinning platforms are a pain to walk around when you're blindfolded, so being able to just skip spinning platforms is a #1 in my book. This Rabiru is also pretty annoying, just because it will jump on you, it will keep annoying you, because I do need to do a setup in this spot, and these setups, I'm able to land on this lamppost, which gives me just enough height to allow me to skip most of the splitting platforms. Another setup right there, just floating 5 times to the right, and now I can set myself up to skip an intended water balloon section. That was supposed to be water balloon section, but with some height and objects laying around the map, you're able to just skip all of it right there. The only one you can't really skip is this one right here. You technically can, but there's methods that are too slow. And so right here, I'm tornadoing to get this water balloon Kirby. The weird part is though, right, is that it's not in a perfect up or upright angle. And so in order for me to get to that in one tornado cycle, I have to wiggle my control stick between up and upright. And so it actually gives me a similar effect to what you would do in a visual run with having that proper angle, which is honestly really cool.
Yeah.
So you're still able to make use of your notches to get certain angles that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get.
I think last time I saved like 30 seconds or so.
And then this is my favorite right here. Getting Kirby sections with the speed time. So you can tornado cancel into the Kirby. I wasn't able to do it there, but just some cool little setups, making sure that I know where I am, bonked into the wall. And then for this section here, I do a lot of audio cues. So first audio cue is the box, then the Bronto Burts, then another box, then the Scarfies, boxes again, Scarfies, and then here I'm now just relying on jumps as my audio cue and my timings. And then
that felt pretty solid.
you can hear the audio cue of the objective popping up. So like right here, I know that I got it.
Cool beans.
So that means I don't have to do a backup Waddle Dee, which is that lonely, sad Waddle Dee on that cage right there. If I didn't get that sub 20 seconds, I would have to grab that. And it's not too much of a time loss, but it's still a time loss either way. And just some simple, straightforward movement here. It's not the most optimal in a visual setting, but it's very fast anyways because you're using Tornado. And it's just easy because you're just going in a straight line. And then here, I forgo Tornado. And with Tornado, Tornado's way too hard to fight with Wild Edge, so I just opt to keep Volcano Fire, and Volcano Fire allows me to just beat up the boss really fast. Unfortunately, I did not hit him fast enough, so he kind of lived a little bit too long, but it's fine. And then this one's my favorite section. This one took a lot of practice, a lot of setups to be able to get good stuff going on, but all it does is I have to take a nice little setup onto this wall so that I can set up myself right on the right edge, and it's just all beat counting. All this memorized beat counting, making sure that I have everything right, and honestly, it looks pretty good. It, like, for perspective, visual runners can do this in about 35 to like 39 seconds.
Beat counting is so good.
Sometimes 40,
I love
and
this game.
you'll see soon enough that this like beat counting is insane. Like, yeah, there's a few bonking here and there, but it's not that big of a deal, honestly. And you can hear myself counting. The mud is actually slowing me down, so it still kind of worked out for me somehow. But yeah, 46 seconds. That's pretty good. Only about 10 seconds slower, and that was a few bonks too. I think my fastest so far with my molded is about like a 40 second. So very close to a visual runner. And there you go. I grabbed Needle for some reason, and I skipped it. So, next world, I'll start explaining why I'm grabbing all these abilities for no reason.
Doing it. I mean, I do know exactly, but it's just like they're a lot harder than what you would actually think.
Okay, and then this one, this is a very prime example of like camera movement being a pain in your rear. So the camera keeps shifting every single time you go around a corner. And because of that, you kind of have to adjust your control stick movement to make up for that. So it looks like I'm doing a pretty good job of doing that. Sometimes the camera movement doesn't move how I want it, so then I end up balking into certain parts, but otherwise, pretty solid movement right there. And a dark section. This is a dark section here, but guess what? I'm blindfolded, so it doesn't matter. And you're casually intended to do this with a light bulb, but honestly, you don't really need it if you already have memorized this area.
I should be good now. Nope, I guess not.
Just a little bit of a mistake there. So, trying to figure out where I am, trying to get my bearings. I don't know where I am.
Okay, maybe it's in this corner first.
And it looks like I managed to figure out the setup. There we go. So yeah, this is all just memorized fire movement right here. Looks like I messed up there somehow.
Oh, please. Where am I? Am I where I think I am? Okay, I had the light bulb.
Yeah, I heard the coin and the light bulb, so I kind of know where I am at. So some of these audio cues, you know, just because of how you know the light bulb spawning, because sometimes the light bulb spawns in different areas.
Definitely need to work on that one more.
Go macaroon for the ghost snacks. Very easy to get. It's in the corner. All of them are pretty much in corners, so it's actually very easy to get. And then here's another section where I end up have to deal with the automatic camera movement. But all you have to do is just hold forward. And then once you hear this hothead right there, then you know you can just go upright, jump a little bit, and you can just get this ladder for free. Right? And I accidentally fell off. It's probably just because of that minor movement that you do in between your slide hops that ends up making you have a little bit too much distance sometimes. But it looks like I still managed to figure out where I was or accidentally fell off, so it was fine. And then cute little skip that was intended to deal with a soda machine, and then you break these cardboard cutouts of aliens. But yeah, just skip it with some fire movement shenanigans. And then here's a very tricky Waddle Dee. So this Waddle Dee right here, you're supposed to do it with a soda machine, and just break through, and then it's just a very straight shot to grabbing it. But if you time your jump properly, you can actually get this Waddle Dee. So right there you go, easy, just like that. And so let me see if I can increase the audio here. So right there. So once you hear that, so that second time you hear it, that's when I go for the slide. So slide, boom, there you go. So just a very important to know some audio cues that helps.
No.
It looks like I messed up somehow. I think I floated on accident. So fortunately the Waddle Dee does not get resetted, but I do have to go through this platform movement again. But it doesn't matter. We skip through, and I mean it's just a pretty straight shot. All you have to do is just keep going straight into the cage Waddle Dee, and you're good to go. Now this one has some cycles. So by the time you enter the second room, the cycles start working on you. So you have to press this button right here very fast. Otherwise, you're gonna be behind these cycles that you need to skip. So I think I'm able to skip it pretty easily. Just enough for me to wait for this next cycle to come in, and it should be good to go. Yep, there you go. And then this is all memorized movement climbing up this slope.
I'm missing a slide.
And I told myself I'm missing a slide, so I ended up sliding more, but it looks like it's fine. Yeah, so right there, you're not supposed to slide left, otherwise you can easily get hit by the spikes.
Bad habit.
But it is a bad habit. A bad habit of mine that I had.
I'm trying to do just singular fire dashes there.
And then now we switch back to Tornado, just because this section, you need to avoid mud. And so in order to avoid mud, it's easier with Tornado versus Fire, because for Fire, you lose height. Tornado, you do not. So just cute little setups right there, just so I can be on top of that button platform. And you're able to do 2 tornadoes.
Way too low, I think.
And right there, I was counting with floats. So if you float up like maybe 2 or 3 times up and then 5 times to the left, you're able to land on top of that platform after doing the double tornado. And the numbers don't really matter too much because the platform actually has a decent amount of leeway just because Kirby's movement is pretty slow with floating. And hopefully I get this right. It looks like I didn't, so unfortunately I got unlucky with the large robot. Depending on how slow or fast you do certain sections, that robot might be in your cycle. And you just want the shorter ones because otherwise that wouldn't have blocked me. But it looks like I was able to make do with what I got. And there you go. Just floating out of the way of the tornado, because if you do a tornado on the ground there, you actually do get hit by the robot there, which is not what you want. And now we grab ice. Now, this is an intentional. Visual runners, you would do the color line fights by juggling tornado and doing copyless strats by getting the star. But the first phase is a pain in the ass. Blindfolded. So using ice is a very good alternative. just because it
Is it 15
freezes up the
seconds?
patterns of the boss, so you don't have to deal with as much
12.
RNG. And just because Cloverline
How
has
many
a lot
ranks
of
was it?
weird RNG laced around it, it's very hard to AI manipulate
12.
her attacks.
I'm gonna probably take
And so we'll see that. Just
4,
some
5,
typical slide movement. There's nothing
6,
special with ice movement. You just have to pretend that you're copyless when you're moving around with ice.
10,
There technically is a
11,
fast ice
12.
movement, but it's very
Okay, 13. I'm gonna do
almost frame
14
perfect and
just
very
'cause
tiring to
I
do.
missed like 10 slides, but
And here we are, Cloverline, just making sure to freeze her up. Her first two attacks are always the same. It changes up depending on where your position is afterwards. But with ice, you should be able to skip the first or the third attack. So right there, I actually got a pretty ideal pattern. She didn't jump away from me too much, and she went for the
okay,
easy
we're gonna try something
slash.
new here. So
But
I don't
I
know where
do change it
Cloverline
up.
is.
The second phase is very
But
easy to
basically,
do,
I'm just waiting until she
copyless. I don't
jumps
know if I do it properly
right here,
here,
then I go forward.
just because the camera is
Oh,
moving and I
hold
don't
on.
know where I am. So I just hope that moving forward towards Cloverline is proper.
Oh, oh, that's fine.
I accidentally only inhaled one, so that didn't work out in my favor. But it looks like it was fine. I would have just had to wait for another plummet from her, and I would have lost like maybe 10 seconds. It's not a big
That would
deal
happen.
either way.
'Cause I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be 4-9, so it was like there's
There you go, Cloverline. And then this is just a bunch of cutscenes. You just wait for cutscenes to come through. Nothing to skip there. And then we're going into World 4. So World 4, that's the part where all the cool stuff starts happening. But I'm basically going back into the shop because I did drop my ability during the Cloverline fight on purpose. And I do need Tornado.
hopefully that's enough.
Because the first level of World 4 is very difficult to deal with because there's so many cycles that are very large. And because of that, sometimes I don't know where I am because there's no audio cues that can help me out with that. Snowballs can kind of help, but sometimes you don't really know. But we'll see that when it comes around. But otherwise, this is another example of wiggle movement. So I wanted to go a little bit more up left, just so I can get into this bench a lot easier. But now that I know I'm on the bench, you just go into this alleyway with 2 slide hops, and then you're out. And there you go. And then just normalizing in corners to make sure I'm set up to get onto the star very easily. And this is going to be another situation of wiggling. Oh, looks like I'm actually off. So maybe there is no showcase for that. But I am trying to wiggle up and up left, and I would have grabbed the star right there. But unfortunately, because of that bonk, now I have to find my bearings. And
To the right.
I was kind of
Why would you
confused
start
that there
to
was
the
a
right?
star to my right instead of to my left. And then here's some beat counting. So I beat counted 9 times to this song. And I know when to cancel my tornado. And I just wait for this cycle so that I can jump up. I forgot to jump. And it looks like I'm still fine. Beat up Bernard. And I want to skip this cycle as well. So I'm just making sure to get this extra height here so that I can tornado forward. And there we go. And I'm just trying to find where Bernard is. I think I messed up my positioning a little bit, but Bernard is annoying with his shots, so I'm just trying to make sure to avoid him. And then a cute little box slide setup so that I can get on top of that sign, so that I can skip some more cycles.
I love that improvement.
And now this part is a little bit weird. This one's kind of just like hoping and praying strats, where I don't get hit by snowballs, and I just glide along the left side of this platform and hope that I break the bomb block, which I managed to get pretty fast. And then here's another one. I don't know what part of the cycle I'm at. I don't know if it's high up on the left or right. So I just assume that it's the worst case scenario. So you see me just kind of like jumping in this spot a lot. And that's only because I think that my first cycle was a bad cycle. So I just stand in that same spot and hope that I'm able to jump there. I grab the staircase right here just so it normalizes me to a position that makes it easy for me to grab onto that staircase. And then some more beat counting so I know when to let go of Tornado. So that should be 6 beats, and I should be able to hit the ladder pretty easily. There you go.
have it perfectly every time.
I got stuck on top of the thing somehow. I'm kind of confused, trying to figure that out.
Are you?
I'm a little bit confused though, because I know I got into the ladder, but then I got off of it in a weird way. But it's fine.
I just assumed.
And just very easy clock tower skip right there. It's very easy to do a tornado. And then there you go. Gauge Waddle Dee, just like that. Right, so on to 4-2. So just some dodge roll-up
I
setups.
forgot to slide.
And after that, just an easy tornado into the loading zone. This is all very easy because it's not narrow movement. So all you have to do is just tornado in one direction, and there's nothing to bonk into. Tornado is actually very easy in World 4. Here, I'm trying to beat up this Balloon Meister because he does get in the way somehow. And here, you get the train objective, and I want to make sure to get this crash as well. And another useless ability that I just inhale and then pick up. And I'm going to be talking about that very soon. So, I get into this arena, do a micro adjustment, and 3 slides will allow me to have this perfect positioning for the easiest fight. So all I have to do is I don't have to care about where the enemies are. I don't have to hope for any jumping. All I have to do is just inhale straight ahead of me. Grab that hammer just to, for some reason, I don't know why. And then you just spit. And because of the auto-targeting and Spring Breeze, like, it's just so easy for you to do that fight.
Although I don't know how long Tornado lasts. It might be a little bit too spicy for me. I might just go back to the old strat that I used to do. That one's a little bit on the
Hey Aiden,
I don't know
just doing some commentary on my video right now.
There.
And so, I think that's about all of the abilities that I've gotten so far. So the reason why is in this game there is a roulette of abilities that you can get. So whenever you inhale 2 abilities, 2 different abilities at the same time, you have the opportunity to start mixing. And so this mix allows you to go through a roulette of all of the abilities that you've inhaled so far. Inhaled and taken the ability. And so with that, you're able to set up for a mix that makes it very easy for me once we get to a certain level. So just keep that in the back of your mind. There is a roulette of abilities that I have collected throughout this run, and it'll set me up perfectly for this next part.
Maybe I can just ignore you. How about that?
Chili's annoying. I got hit by Chili. I tried beating him up, but it didn't work out. Then a cute little skip right there. You're intentionally supposed to do that with Kirby, but doing it blindfolded took a little bit of some setup, but it was able to work out. I got super lucky. Okay. And then I thought I fell off there. I hit a capsule. I didn't mean to. There we go. And this is a hard quality to get, so I just kind of normalized myself into this corner, because if you hold up left, you'll always be in that same exact spot, no matter if you're above or below it. And because of that, you're able to just go down right and get that cage for free. And then now we go on to 4-3. So 4-3 is kind of weird, just because there is a bunch of wind. So you would think that wind kind of bothers you a lot in these runs, but fortunately, Tornado is pretty strong. I feel like it actually ignores a lot of the pushes, but as you can see, I'm going slightly left here. I actually didn't account for that at all, so I'm kind of confused on what's happening. But either way, I kind of just go up left, just so I can get into this cave a lot easier. And do 3 counts again, enter in, and now I know I've gotten it. And so that is a Waddle Dee, just for entering that secret cave right there. Here, I do 3 counts, 3 counts, 3 counts, let go, and I should be able to land. but now I'm confused because I should have landed. So I'm just trying to find where I am. I lost my bearings. I hear the boxes, so I kind of know where I am now.
I landed way too early. There you go.
Okay. And looks like I was able to find it. And just trying to beat up the walls right now. Then 1, 2, and then to the left. And now I am on the boat that I need.
I missed the meat again.
I missed meat again, so it's a common thing that I've happened in my runs for some reason. Because it is a little bit on the lower end, so you can't just hug a wall and hope that you hit it.
Like down left and then up left. Maybe that's better.
And so another objective is getting seafood. This one I really like. This one was really cool. Shout outs to, I believe, Civil for helping me out with beat counting here. But yeah, just a very easy way to get the meal. It's a very easy corner to work with. And I didn't know you could dismount there too. That was actually a really cool thing that I found out, was being able to dismount even though I wasn't at a dock.
You know, I want to test out going tornadoing right here, but maybe for next time, not now.
And just a little bit of some setups right there. I'm actually stalling my tornado a little bit. Just because if I go straight after this part, I can actually overshoot this little hole here that has the KHD. So I make sure to stall in the air a little bit, just so I'm at least at the fence and maybe at best inside the hole. And then I was supposed to do a setup here, but it didn't work out as intended, but it worked out anyways. So now that I think about it, I actually might just skip a setup that skips the cycles there, and I can just like go straight for the tornado movement. And here, pretty easy fight. Kind of confused a little bit, but your intention is to just kill all 3 of those right there, and you're good.
Oh, I did it again. Whatever. We'll just hope for the best. Okay, as long as I... Okay.
Yeah, I was supposed to tornado there, but it didn't work out too much. And here is the moment of truth. So the whole entire reason. So I was talking about the roulettes, the mixes, all of that. So going into 4-4, how usual visual percent runners is they just take what they need, and they know the exact timing to press A to get the ability they need. Now I could do that as well because it's just all timing based, but for consistency reasons, I get all these abilities that I've gotten throughout the run to set up for an auto mix. So basically, if you take too long to press the button to get a certain ability from the mix, you just get the last ability in the roulette. And so with all the abilities I've collected throughout the run, it automatically gives me hammer, which is very important for the next trick. And so this section right here was all intentioned to be a boss gauntlet, but because of this cool little trick that I discovered myself in the visual setting, I also use it in the blindfolded setting. And I don't know if it's first try. I don't think it is. Oh, I think it is.
Sounds too low. Yeah.
It did not work out, so I had to do a backup strat. But this skip gave me hammer. I still have tornado, and all of this is set up so that I can just skip all of the bosses. Because if I skip all the bosses, it'd be very awesome. Looks like it's not going as well as I wanted to, unfortunately.
Dude. Oh.
And I accidentally fight the boss.
No,
So
this run was so hot. Oh, whoops! I don't need sword.
So right now, I think my morale is like super low right now because I think I'm behind on time. But since you're blindfolded, you can't tell what your timing is right now. But I still keep trying for this skip here, and once you see it, I mean, it's gonna be awesome.
Please. Oh, thank God.
Okay, yep, there you go. So I know that I'm up there, because you are landing very early. So when you land early, that means you know that Kirby is in the air right there. And so, look at that. All of that bridge down below was supposed to be places you're supposed to traverse and fight bosses. But with this hammer super jump shenanigans, you're able to just skip everything and just go straight for the goal, which is the Waddle Dees.
Oops.
It's a very
Let myself
technical
land
trick.
again.
I think in one of my previous marathon runs, it was done for Shry, but
What a travesty.
either way, it's still a skip. It's like honestly really awesome.
Probably like super behind now.
And to follow up with that, all of this
Like,
crazy
I had
shenanigans
such
that
a
have
good start,
happened,
so, like,
now
I'm
we
gonna
go
continue.
into
Might as well, right?
King
Oh,
DDD,
no,
which
dude, I
is
probably lost like 5
honestly
points.
not that
5 points,
crazy.
exaggerating.
This
Maybe,
fight
like,
was this fight is the
2, 3
complete
points.
opposite
I
of
think I
how
lost like 3
technical
points.
this skip was. So we'll just go on along into it. I use Tornado to climb up it. There's actually rocks that you can get it that gets in your way, but honestly, it doesn't really lose too much time. And look at this. This is a very easy fight. So, talking about all these tricks, and all I had to do is just shield and press B. It's a very easy fight. Like, this fight is way too
At least
easy.
this part's easy.
And I'm just trying to be a jokester right there and just pretending I'm asleep because it's not honestly that easy. The hard part is probably just the guarding, but otherwise you just hold B the whole entire time.
Oh, where's fire? That was a little scary.
Right? And then second section's pretty straightforward as well. Because it's a Kirby game, or I guess that's a little bit too rude, but since this game makes it easy for you to know where the boss is, the camera always angles it so that basically you just have to hold forward and you'll hit the boss most of the time. There's some exceptions, but most of the time that your boss will be in front of you at all times. There you go. Pretty easy. All you do is just hold forward, know the timings of the attacks, and guard, and that's the boss. So grabbing this KHD, this will be a blueprint skip. We never get any of the blueprints in the run, and something is about to happen. For story reasons, this is a sad moment. Because for some reason the boss we just defeated is still alive.
4-4 skip again, right?
Or still awake and
So-
conscious. And
I think
steals our
what I
best
need to
friend
work on
Elphalus, and we have to go
is
save him.
so
And
that's why I was,
we
I didn't
don't
have
actually go
time
back to
to
Waddle Dee Town for
do
once,
that.
so there's no cutscenes
This
there.
was, like,
You
a
actually
rewatch
just go
for
straight
Waddle
into
Town.
World 5 because of the urgency to save your friend. So here we are. All this right here is just memorized movement. I know how many fires I need to do. And then I know I have to do 4 fires right here, then 1 fire to the left, and I should be able to just bonk into the wall and hit the squishy. That's it.
Thank you for the follow/raid. For whoever that is.
And as you noticed, I am back to fire because of King DD. So, fire coming in clutch once again to have normalized movement. And it helps out a lot in this level. I think fire is used throughout this whole entire level, throughout this whole entire game. So, stage. So world 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4. We're gonna be using fire this whole entire time.
Hold on.
Readjusted myself because I didn't mean to do that one fire.
Nope, that's not where I want to be.
So right here, I'm just kind of trying to figure out where I am. That bonk was intentional. And because it gives me the proper amount of distance to land on top of that rock. And these hops right there, it basically just helps me know where I am.
Alright, thanks, Kabu.
It's not
Being
like
sure.
normalized movement, but at least I know what kind of distance I'm at. So I know that after this many jumps, I can shoot Ring B's air into the sand pillar. And then intentional bonk, not intentionally getting hit by Glunk though. Not intentional bonk as well. And now I'm lost.
I don't know which one. Okay, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I had to pick and choose whether or not I got eaten by left or right. Okay. Alright, that was oh,
Yeah, honestly, pretty messy one. I got hit by a lot of things. I messed
that
up a
was
lot of positionings, but
interesting. Interesting.
we take those. This is technically world record.
And then up.
And then
I need
right
to work on my
here.
controls movement for sure.
So this one is kind of annoying. So this camera moves around too much. This section right here, there's a lot of camera movement, and so I have to press all these buttons in my memorized fashion very fast. Otherwise, the camera will actually kind of mess up on some of my positioning. So as you can see, the position's kind of close. I'm touching these poison puddles like very closely. But there you go. Easy Waddle Dee right there. Then sleep. Sleep percent right here. It is quite intentional.
Nice
And just some dodge rolls, just because that Gordo is actually really annoying.
What was the movement again? 1, 2.
And
Nope,
unfortunately,
definitely not
that
movement.
poison puddle was not intentional as well.
Water.
Okay. And I knew I was in the water, so I knew the warp star was somewhere there.
I don't know where I'm at. Okay. Yeah, I know where I'm at. Hold on, let me see if I touch poison.
Just trying to
here.
find myself in the corner. I know that's a poison puddle. That was intentional as well. Just to make sure that I know where I'm at. And then because of that, I know to stand on top of this pillar. And this sets me up properly so that I can actually get to the ladder that I want to get a Waddle Dee. And there we go. That's the Waddle Dee.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I'm down.
And then this is just all memorized movement as well. The camera angles make it kind of awkward because sometimes, even if you go right, it might make you go like down right or away from the wall, which is not what you want. So all memorized movement, just making sure that you're adjusting for the camera, automatic camera movement that's happening. And then this is a skip right here. So this is a double whammy here. You get 2 Waddle Dees. And intentionally, your intention is to go through that fence with drill, but with some fire or tornado shenanigans, you can actually skip that whole entire section and hit that button without even getting drill. So we get 2 Waddle Dees here. We get 1 objective for getting the Toxic Crocums. And then the second objective is just grabbing this Waddle Dee right here, this Cage Waddle Dee. So just a double whammy. It kind of looks slow. I could have went to the goal immediately, but there's actually way too many Waddle Dees to grab in World 5 that are kind of out of the way, so we just have to choose the fastest one that's out of the way. And so that's 5-2.
Right up.
And then now we go to 5-3. And so memorize fire movement as per usual. I think this whole entire section is basically memorized. It's actually one of my favorite levels.
Aha!
And
I did the thing! Aw. I guess I didn't jump high enough or something. It's fine.
yeah, just a little minor optimization there. I intended to go on top of this right here and go for a
Aha, I
triple
did the
fire,
thing.
but I did
Aw.
not have enough height for
guess
the
I
triple
didn't
fire, so
or
that didn't
something.
work out.
It's fine.
And looks like sometimes I'm missing some of the things that I want. So being able to do diagonal movements alongside walls allows you to just glide alongside them. So even if you don't get the perfect movement, you can still glide alongside the walls until you find the door that you're looking for. So good example right there. Yep. So there's a little bit of a door there that kind of does not help with the bonking, but it's actually a good indicator to tell that you're in the right spot. And there's the cardboard box. And so we're just trying to get all the ice creams here. They're all really fast to get. And hey, that is the second ice cream, and then we're going for the third ice cream, just skipping all these spinning platforms, just using fire's vertical movement to just help us get across, and finding our third ice cream, doing a little bit of an attack setup here so that I can skip the spinning platforms because I don't know what cycle it's on, and being able to skip it is just very helpful in general. And there you go, that's 5-3. And so now we're going to 5-4. This one, actually, I had a little bit of trouble when I first started off doing this run, just because climbing this without using fire kind of sucks. So I learned some new tech from Cog. Shout outs to Cog. I didn't know about that coral that you could actually jump on top of. There we go. Just some memorized jumping movement there. It's honestly felt very awkward for me at first because none of it felt normalized, but I managed to make it work. And then here, another dark section. We're going to be using, not the light bulb, just using fire once again to just skip over certain areas. All intention that you're supposed to follow a certain path with the light bulb, but honestly, you can just skip all of it. You can just use fire, just skipping all the memorized areas. And then being able to just skip these cannon cycles is quite nice.
Okay, I skipped both the cannon shots. Nice.
It's usually hard to skip the second cannon shot because the cycle goes so fast that there's a pretty easy chance that you'll overlap into it. And grabbing light bulb again, because these are going to be two fast Waddle Dees right here. So setting up to get the second out of the third posters. Looks like I missed it. And so that's 2 out of 3, and then one more Waddle Dee. So pretty two fast Waddle Dees right there. And this song right here is a banger. Too bad you can't really hear it too much, but this song is always a banger to listen to. And in this section, we're just going to be grabbing another Waddle Dee and another poster. So this will be the final poster that we need. And just skipping the ladder section right there. And being able to just go down right. Easy Waddle Dee right there. And even if you overshoot a little bit, you can actually glide alongside the sand blocks that are a little bit high, a little bit elevated. So even if your position's not perfect, you can still easily get that Waddle Dee. Unintentional dodge, but I kind of just make it work.
I don't know what happened, but sure, I'll take it, I guess.
And nice little ladder slap right there. Ladder snap, there's a lot of ladders that are decently ladder snappable, and some of them are just not very easy snappable.
Instead of sliding.
And so, second Archmouth out of the whole entire run. So, using the same method of spin attacking to do a certain amount of distance that kind of works in my head. And so the only weird part about this section right here is that once you get towards the end where all the falling metal pillars are falling, you kind of have to be a little bit faster than what spin attacking can do. So you'll see that I'm actually just going to start moving left and left, left and right, 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 just so that I know that I'm doing it right. And also because I'm so used to doing the dash or the spin attack movement, you don't even need to do it. So I kind of got used to the timing of how long I had to hold my control stick in one direction.
Okay, I still need to work on this movement here too. Okay.
And then this section is a little bit weird because of the curvature of the rocks. Sometimes you might be a little bit too much to the left or to the right. So
about
just
that?
making sure
Work?
never to slide in that
Nice.
section,
That's
otherwise you're gonna be off center really easily,
down.
and
Down.
could potentially land into that Waddle Dee cage before you can get the secret Cactus D, which is honestly a pain. That actually has happened to me in a certain run. And I think for once, aside from getting hit by the Scarfies, I actually did the Archmouth section really well this time. I didn't
True.
get hit by
I
any of the
agree.
falling pillars this time. Help
And
me.
so,
Next
and
boss.
I'm not saying that spin attacks make me move slow. It's just how I normalize my movement blindfolded with spin
Yep.
attacks.
Just what I was explaining before. That's exactly what past Bomb Happy was talking about. And intentional bonk right here, just so I know where I'm at, and it allows me to jump to the places I need to be, and making sure that I don't ever overshoot into those trophies, otherwise I'll lose Volcano Fire, which is not ideal whatsoever.
That was like, what, 3 jumps in a row? Kinda nasty.
And Silly Dill, honestly, this is basically just a visual run right here, just because Silly Dill is just so straightforward. Technically, there is a very optimal half copyless strat, but for any regular runners, this is basically just a visual fight right here. It's pretty straightforward. It's just Volcano Fire, proper positioning, making sure to guard at right times. Nothing too fancy. And that will trigger the second phase right here. And this part's really important. So you're forced into the same exact position after this cutscene. So all you have to do is just do a one slide to the right and a dodge after you get attacked by Silly Dillo. And I messed it up, but as you can see, Silly Dillo's bouncing is very not Windows XP. So the Windows logo is not just jumping around. It's all just going back and forth between basically the two same spots, um, which helps you hit fire a lot easier and not having to worry about where Silly Dillo is. And there you go. That is the fight. So no elf list, so they can't tell us to skip blueprints. But on we go. Going through some cutscenes, back to 6-1, doing Gotcha Machine, and now we are in 6-1. So this section of the game is like severely harder because there's so much more hazards out there. So a lot of lava, a lot of fire, a lot of wood that blocks you. So I wouldn't be expecting too much from this section just because it's very easy to bonk into a lot of stuff. But this is a cool little fadeaway shot right here if I can get it.
No, it's supposed to be just one upright, so should be like this.
And then fadeaway shot, just hit the Wolfie one time, let the burn kill the Wolfie, and that triggers the first objective right there. And so, a lot of bonking. I'm actually really used to that bonking in that section just because it's too precise. So I kind of just resigned myself to being okay with hitting those bonks right there. And there's the last lookout wall Wolfie that we need before I start moving along. And all practice movement, I actually went to the upright one extra, so I kind of adjusted myself a little bit more to the left.
Yeah, it usually looks cleaner. Whatever.
And then this is the cycled section here. I've resigned myself to doing the slightly slower cycle, just because it is way too hard to do it without eyes.
Gonna go for the bone strat here.
So yes, as I said, just went for the bone strat. I'm trying to figure it out ever since I lost it. I know where I'm at with those bonks.
Maybe I can just... I'll just wait. Oh, screw it.
I'm doing the other strat, never mind. But yeah, you can hear the audio cue of whenever they come out. And so
sometimes if I don't hit it
there you go. This section, I really hate this section. This section is very awkward, just because if you mess up a few times, it's kind of doomed. Only because you can easily lose your fire, easily fall off. I'm already struggling as is right now.
Not upright up. That was... I need the flower.
Yeah, because there's nothing much that can easily glide along, and if you do glide along, it actually screws you over. And I'm very confused right now because like I know where I'm at, but like for some reason I just keep on messing up in certain spots. Um, but the intention is to just have these proper angles that go around the walls that are
Seems like my
annoying,
positioning
and
is
you
a
should be
little
able to just
better than
glide for
that.
free. Looks like I'm pretty low on
Holy crap.
HP, but I think I actually make it through pretty easily here. Definitely not my favorite section out of all the worlds, but being able to get through that in a clean fashion is actually one of my achievements that I want to get. So we'll
Oh,
definitely, hopefully, be there in a
no.
world record that is sub 2 hours. But anyways, on to 6-2. I don't know if I go for the old strat or the easy
Unfortunately,
strat,
wait,
but we'll
I'm
see.
not gonna risk it. Slightly safe. Slightly safe. So we're just gonna do this. Yeah, we're just gonna wait. I'm not gonna risk it.
Yep. Just waiting, making sure to grab the meat because I do know I'm low on HP. I just don't know how low. But now that I eat that meat, I know I'm in a safe
Okay, so
spot.
it was this, fire, one, two. Okay, so how does this work?
Yeah, so it looks like I'm
I
trying to
forgot
go
my
for
setup
the
already.
crash setup here. I don't think it was
This.
successful, but we'll see. The intention here is that this setup allows you to easily do the Crash Frosty strat,
Okay.
which is killing Frosty with Crash. Just because Crash is
That's
very
probably the other way
awkward to get
anyways.
in a regular climbing fashion, because I don't know when I'll get up there. Just because this section is so cycle heavy based and the camera is not in your favor with the angles.
That's not
So
right.
I intend to forego all of that by just doing the hammer trick. But it looks like I wasn't
No.
able to do it, so
Okay,
now I just
well,
have to
now I have to
hopefully
deal with
climb
cycles
it
that I hate
without
so
getting hit by
much.
anything.
Let's just hope for the best.
Yep, hope for the best.
Yep, this
And
is why I
basically, I
don't like this.
told myself that it's
And
basically just
because
like
of that, I
right,
can't do crash
upright,
drag
or like right,
because I have
upright,
a setup
kind
specifically
of
for
randomly
crash
doing
drag.
it and hoping for the
So I just have
best.
to do regular strat now.
And as you saw right
Like
there, I
this.
passed the crash.
And because of that, I
So
can't
it's
do
very
crash
hard to
drag
hit this
anymore
crash, and the
because
reason why
I have
it's
a
so
setup
hard to pull
specifically for
off is
crash
because
drag.
you also have to
So
drop
I just have to do
Volcano Fire
regular
in the
strat
right
now.
spot before the crash kills itself. So, I just go for the
I just
OG
don't
strat,
want
which is
to.
just doing
I don't want to
Volcano
fight Wild
Fire,
Frosty
Wild
anymore.
Frosty,
That's my problem.
which is pretty easy. And this fight could have been over like ages ago if I was able to kill it fast enough. So,
Also, I hate this game. Why didn't I climb that tower so much better than what I usually do whenever I want to avoid it?
yeah,
Okay.
unintentionally like doing
How
better.
did I do that section so much better than when
Yeah.
actually trying to do that properly?
So now,
It's like
this one's memorize movement once
so annoying.
again. This one's
I don't like
easier
that.
because it's just a straight line. Um, I do some minor adjustments here, so that one slide allows me to skip
Oh,
the long
that's
Gordo cycle. But looks like I messed up my
what is
positioning just a little bit.
happening?
And then now I
Oh,
don't
I
know
don't
what
know the
cycle
cycle
I'm
that
at,
I'm
but I
on,
just hope
but
for the
let's just hope
best.
it's the same. Yeah,
And
it's
it's
not
not
the
the
same
same.
cycle. Okay.
And the whole entire intention with that hammer super jump trick is that you
That's
can also get the
okay.
Crash
That's okay.
Frosty Waddle Dee objective, but since I didn't get it, I have to opt to go for this Waddle Dee, which is pretty slow.
Oh, this is going so bad. Okay, we got ice cream.
And then another pretty simple section here. There's some weird timings with the cannons, but otherwise, it's just a straight shot. Oh, wow, I need to do that again. I totally forgot about that movement. Yeah, so nice to know that this Balloon Meister, you can actually just glide alongside it like this. Did not know that. I totally forgot about that. But anyways, so there's two ways you can do this strat right here. So you can either opt to do the boat, which is pretty easy to do, but I like to do the swag strat because it's more simple in my mind because I don't have
I
to
might
land
have
on the boat and grab the ring, which is kind of
let
accurate.
myself fall
You
down
kind of have to
too
be accurate
low.
to do that. But with this one, you can be on
That
any
might be a
part of
failure.
the falling
Maybe.
dock and do the swag strat, which is
Fine.
just doing that. And technically, I want to say it's around 2 seconds or like 3 seconds slower than doing the boat regularly. So, it's not that big of a deal, especially when you're blindfolded. Sometimes you waste your time trying to figure out how to inhale the ring, and so I opt to do that strat more just because it's easier on my mind because all I do is just hold forward instead of doing weird micro adjustments in hopes that I grab the ring B on the boat.
Actually, maybe I didn't even lose that much time.
And also dismounting is another thing as well.
Because like I'm so bad.
And so now 6-3. The woofies are kind of weird here, but the angle is also weird. You can't go up left, but you also can't go up for the optimal movement. So you kind of have to like do it back and forth to make up for it. And then this section, honestly, is like visual percent. It's really easy to do a visual percent, honestly. The timings are pretty much the same. Yeah. Okay. And so there you go. You grab the coffee, which is one of the objectives. Get the cage Waddle Dee, and now I just try and go into the control room, which is just like that, very quick and easy.
Oh, dude, that
And this section right here, I could technically do it faster, but I opt to do a safer strat, which is purposely delaying my fire movement and then jumping too high so that I can bonk into these pressers. I think it looks like I just listened to the audio cue of it smashing, but there's also the option of just jumping really high and bonking into the walls. And because of these certain patterns, there's no way you'll get squished. But if you are any slower, I can imagine that you can still get squished pretty easily. But with that particular cycle, you can easily do it just slightly slower and be okay.
Oh well.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, sure.
Just cute metal boxes right there. Movement right there. And then here, fortunately, lava doesn't automatically drop your ability ever. It just gives you damage. So you're able to just skip the auto-scroller a little bit faster by doing this movement. Fortunately, 2 fires up left allow you to get into that doorway a lot easier. And do I get the perfect jump here? No, I don't.
No optimal bonk today.
There is an optimal bonk strat. I don't know if it's actually faster, but it does look fast. And here we go. So this part, I actually have revised so many times. So when I originally did the blindfolded runs, I did not take the attack and speed boosts, just because I felt like I was getting lost so quickly during my runs that I wouldn't have been able to efficiently use the abilities, right? And so, but now that I feel like I'm very efficient with my movement, I'm able to utilize the speed and attack boost. So here, we're actually going to go back to town. So this looks slow, right? You're going back to town when you could just continue on to 6-4, but in a visual run, it actually makes it so much faster because you get to circumvent so many strats. Like, you get to also skip boss fights a lot faster with certain strats, and so being able to do that is just worth it. The speed boost alone already makes everything fast, and even having just one speed boost is enough as well. So, pretty boring, but basically I'm buying 2 speed boosts and 2 power boosts. But the last power boost I'm not going to use, and I'm going to hold on to it. And it'll be more prevalent later, and the reason why is because there's a dead time after the 200 seconds that you get on your first initial power boost that you don't need later on. So you just hold on to the power boost until you actually need to use it. And because it's a blindfolded run, there's a lot of variance and how much I'll have of the boost later on into the run. So just being able to have a set point where I know I can consistently make use of all of it is very important. So 2 speed boost, 1 power boost, and then 1 more power boost to hold. That's what we'll have for that part of the run. And cute little setup right here. I jump off to the right, and it should just let me have that warp star just like that. Very easy. It's basically a straight shot. And on to 6-4. So this will be the first showcase of how awesome it is to have power boost. Because this level here is basically the Beast Pack boss gauntlet. So we're going against Gorimondu again, we're going against Clawline again, and we're also going against Silly Dillo again. So now we're basically gonna one-shot them because of the power boost that we have. And it actually saves so much time. Oh, memorized movement right there. I almost hit the hammer. Holy. That would have been bad. But yeah, I just count up to 5 seconds and then I just do the crash attack. That is the maximum charge crash, which allows you to one-shot Gorimondu, just like that. Right, and then another Kirby section. This is beat counting, so 1, 2, 3 up, and then 1, 2, 3 right, and then up again. Sometimes the timing's a little bit off there, and then 4 to the right, 4 down, 4 left, and then I count I think 7 or 8 times, and then I go up.
Dang.
So then there you go. I think it was supposed to be 8 instead of 7, so because of that, I missed the very tiny skinny bridge. So the skinny bridge is like I'll miss it sometimes because it's just such a precise spot that sometimes I'll miss it, but because usually if you miss it to the left or right, it'll always respawn you in the same exact spot. So it's not a big deal if I ever fall off of it. And so now we're getting drill. This time we're actually gonna use it. And being able to do a one-shot pattern here. So the camera angle's a little weird, right? So if you notice, I'm wiggling. Because I'm trying to get like a proper oval. And so here, you notice that I was going straight forward, and then I'm going right. But now the camera angle doesn't work in my favor anymore. And so I have to wiggle down, left, down. And because of that, it allows me to make a kind of oval there, just enough for me to one-shot Silly Dillo.
The wiggle strat.
Yep, the wiggle strat.
I've always been trying to figure out how to get that one properly. Now I know. The wiggle strat is OP. And I guess just context, right? So the wiggle strat basically means
Okay, and then this one is a pipe B section, so we're just counting here. I think this is 5 counts right here. And then I just wait. I listen to landing, count 5 times, jump again, count 5 times, jump again. This is all based off the song that I'm listening to, which is the game. And then after that, straight shot.
Yeah, wiggle strat, right? So
It's still kind of weird.
basically that just means
Sometimes I feel like I have to do like a half a beat, if that makes sense, where like I could count 5, but maybe it's like 5.5 or 4.5. So sometimes I try and make use of that, and maybe it's just because of my reaction time to sounds, but that's just all beat counting right there.
Down left. It allows me to do an angle that is helpful for that particular camera angle that I have to deal with. Because camera angles are kind of a pain in the ass in this game, because I don't have any control of it. And so, like,
Easy Clawline section, all you have to do is just freeze her up. Technically you can do the copy this strat, but it's a little bit risky because one of the objectives here is to do it damageless. So safe strat, use ice. The guard is immune to damage, so being able to do it with ice just allows you to get the objective, beat Clawline without getting hit. So
you just have to fix that.
and in this section, all memorized as well, pretty easy. So in this section, it's all audio cues. So I listen to 3 cannon shots. You don't have to listen to it. The most important part is listening for this popcorn, and then you just hold left.
Waddle D count.
And right.
So that means I'm
and then left.
and lava cone B right
and then after you hit the button, you hear for the coins on the right. So once you hear it, you count 1, 2 center, 1, 2 right, 1, 2 center. Hear the rice cake, not rice cake, onigiri, and then go left, then right, then left with the coins, wait a little bit, then go right, coins again, wait a little bit, then go left, and you're good. So the thing is that with the current route that I have for the Waddle Dees, you actually don't need to get this Waddle Dee. And so that one, it was kind of just for practice. The reason why I like to go for that Waddle Dee is because one of the most run-killing Waddle Dees in this game is the Lava Cone Bee, which is in the next section. It's at the very end of the level, and if you ever get hit and fall off of lava during the Cone Bee section, you lose a Waddle Dee objective. And because of that, sometimes it's good to go for the Roller Coaster D, because it can back up just in case you mess up. You lose probably like 10 or so seconds for missing it, so it's not bad to go for it if you're uncomfortable doing a lavaless section blindfolded. So there's also the Scissor Lift D as well. Scissor Lift Waddle D that is in this next section is also a very fine strat to go for. But yeah, pretty simple movement. So this section is going to be utilizing hammers again, so we don't need ice. Ice is actually kind of a hindrance to movement unless you're good at it. So I just drop it, and I just put myself into this corner just because it is a very consistent spot, very easy to go to. And all I have to do is just listen to an audio cue to set myself up for this next fight. So there's a little mini arena here to fight some enemies, and you actually get an objective off of this. Looks like I messed up. I was supposed to go for a double woofie there, so we're just kind of hoping to get the right ones. Yep. So we do get the Mookie there, get an objective for Waddle Dee, and now we have hammer to work. And so right now I'm doing some optimal movement by doing slide hops into hammer attacks.
Test out something here.
It looks like I'm testing out a strat here.
No. Let me have hammer.
I'm trying to get hammer here.
Okay, anyways.
But I think as a beginner strat for sure is grabbing Scissor Lift B. So the important thing to note is that whenever you are in a mouthful mode, you actually keep your speed boost. And so because of that, it basically extends the time of how long you can keep it. So it only works for certain certain mouthful modes like Arch Mouth and basically like auto scroller-ish ones like Ring B. But it looks like I'm trying to go for the harder, faster strat. I don't know if it worked out. Okay, it looks like I did. Nice. And just a little skip right here, so I don't have to go on that rightward path. Just doing some loading. It is faster. And just some more hammer swings. It actually has some really good vertical movement, so it helps a lot with skipping certain areas. And a second charge hammer swing here will beat up that Buffahorn. And there you go. Just a little mash. And then now we're going to do another hammer super jump. So this room, initially you're supposed to be grabbing the cage Waddle Dee, but in this section we're actually going to do it blindfolded. So we're going to skip the Waddle Dee completely and actually do some out of bounds shenanigans. And so I count 8 times on the beat, and then I go down left and just keep falling down, and I should be in the loading zone, which is like right there.
We're popping off right now.
So that was basically just first try hammer super jump, which is honestly awesome. It's always awesome to do first try hammer super jumps, even in a visual setting. And here, just a blindfolded arena, just kind of, it's not as organized, but gets the job done. I basically just do a search and rescue, kind of like around the a sweep. There you go. That's the word. I'm doing a sweep around the arena just to make sure I'm inhaling everything. Sometimes you inhale rocks, which is not ideal, and so you kind of have to inhale and spit a little bit more often than you're supposed to. And here, Archmouth section, just doing some of my normalized movement here with the spin attacks, just going up every single time I hit a windmill. Then here, this is the optional windmills, and this gives me a Waddle Dee. So we're gonna try and hit these 3 windmills. They're pretty fast in succession.
make sure to go a little bit left here, otherwise I'll bonk. For some reason,
True.
I'm
Yep.
bonking to the
Sometimes
right side.
that right side of that cage D is actually bonkable, so we don't want that. I listen to an audio cue to go right there, so that I can just enter it for free. And just spitting the drill burr right there, just so I can skip it.
Yep.
And here, I kind of don't know where I'm at, but I'm kind of just guessing. And then sliding into that bottom right corner, I know where I'm at now. And so just skipping through, I inhale the woofie. It's supposed to be the woofie. Go into that little corner right there, and I kind of know where I'm at. And so this is the section. So this section is kind of weird because sometimes if you're too slow, you won't have speed. And so you kind of have to adjust on whether or not you have it or not. And you can tell because once you hit this mini Tordilding, if you don't have speed and you do a cone attack to the left, you actually get the capsule. But since I didn't get the capsule, I know I have the extra speed. And then 2 to the left, then 1 up left, and then 1 to the left. Yeah. I think you can also just jump to the left as well on that last one, but I think that was the safer way to do it. And then I wait for 2 coins here, then you jump up left. If you don't have speed boost, I would do the 3rd coin and then go up left.
Last time,
so it just depends.
I fell into lava and that was very tragic.
All right, and that's 6-5. There's a lot going on with that.
That was actually a pretty solid 6-5.
I agree. That was pretty solid.
I have like 10,000 speed boost left. It's probably
All right,
like,
and so now we're going to the next boss.
Usually crisper.
I guess this is kind of late to talk about, but there's actually a way to warp to certain levels on the map. So sometimes if you get lost in the overworld and you can't get to the stage that you want, you can actually just press Y and choose the stage, and it will automatically always start with the first stage no matter where you are of the area that you're in. So if you ever get lost on the overworld, you can always press Y and just go through the menu, and it's a lot easier. I do that sometimes whenever I forget my overworld movement. But now we're on to the boss gauntlet here. So we're doing the Ice Rat against Porco DD. And then I'm turning on Auto Swallow. That's kind of weird, right? The reason why, shoutouts to Aiden, the reason why I do it is because I had a lot of problems losing abilities during this section of the game. So I turn it on because whenever you get hit by the bosses, you have a pretty decent chance, I don't know what the percentage is, of losing your ability. And so the thing is that there's stars and abilities in this game. Stars don't have any abilities in them, so the problem is that I don't want to accidentally spit out my ability or accidentally inhale a star. And getting Auto Swallow allows me to just inhale whatever I have, and if I don't automatically inhale, I know it's a star I can spit out. So it's mostly just a safety thing. It's not needed, but I do it for the safety of not losing ability and losing like a whole 30 seconds to a minute in a boss fight. So, just because of a minor mistake that I make.
I got the good arm.
And it's actually a major mistake.
But I also
usually during that section you would turn on your power boost. But because it only just skips like an extra cycle, I just keep on to my power boost there. Just because this next section right here is basically a run killer. And if you don't get it first try, you just lose your power boost because it just loses a lot of time. And you won't be able to do enough damage for the final boss. So I basically wait until I can do the next section before I can turn on my power boost. Because I would rather lose a little bit of like 5 to 20 seconds on that boss fight than to lose a whole entire minute on the last boss fight. So it's just a trade-off that I thought was worth paying attention to and choosing my risk versus reward during a run. Because Blindfolded is very risky. Especially when I'm doing these high-level strats like Leongar skip, which is the hardest skip in the game, and a lot of people have trouble with the skip just because this environment here is very laggy, and you have a high chance of getting hit by Leongar. So I think I do this first try, which is the reason why it's a world record. And Right now I'm doing some out of bounds shenanigans, hammer super jumping through the ceiling into another out of bounds into a lower loading zone,
Yes.
which allows me to skip the whole entire Liangar fight
Where am I?
and into the second boss,
Power boost time.
skipping a bunch of cutscenes and just going straight for basically this terrifying beast. And so now I turn on my power boost because this is the most optimal time to turn it on now, just because I'm only going to be fighting from here on
I'm too
out.
happy right now.
And this is basically just textbook visual, aside from I think I missed a cycle of hammer swings, but otherwise it was still a pretty decent fight.
I guess that little warm-up in the beginning really helped me out.
Now we are on to the last part of the fight, so I actually have plenty of power boost, so even if something does go wrong, I will still have power boost to work with. But I think I almost get a perfect fight here. So we're going to grab ice once again, just because ice allows you to consistently skip a bunch of cycles, and so we're going to be grabbing that. And then right there, I just did an Ice Storm just in case I did not get the right ability, just to confirm that I did have it.
Doing Ice Strat.
And so here, there's a little bit of RNG here. So with Elfliz, they can either go right or left, and then when they do attack, they can also go left or right. So it's kind of weird. Sometimes I notice in my VODs that I've put myself into walls, and that's actually very unideal because this next spear attack right here can actually lose stars if you're at the edge, which is not very ideal. But otherwise, get the quad star damage. Even though it's technically 5 stars, it only does quad star damage. And then now we're just freezing Aphelis twice. It looks like I got the bad pattern. That is probably the only pattern that is not good for me.
That's probably the worst pattern to get.
Yep. There's the swinging one, and then there's also the casting one. Those patterns would have been better for me. Would have given me more leeway to beat this boss, but otherwise, still pretty fast first phase for Blindfolded run. And so now I'm putting myself to the left, and the reason why I do this is because it consistently puts me in the same exact spot every time. And also consistently puts me in a position to deal with Elphelis's clone phase, and has very consistent positioning on where it is, so I only need to check 3 spots instead of like multiple random spots. But that's only in the case where I mess up the heal skip. So I think in this run I actually do the heal skip, which is really awesome. But that positioning is also I can do the heal skip easier.
Heal skip! Why can I do this better blindfolded and visually?
True. I can't even do it that well in visual.
Wait, what? Oh. Okay, I did not position my hand for the fast mash. Oh my, what an ending!
Yeah, this run is actually pretty insane.
Dang! Visual bomb happy, what's wrong with you? Why can't you do that?
Yep, and then this part right here is just a pretty simple auto-scroller. There's some adjustments I have to do when I hear certain audio cues. So right now, I'm not pressing anything. I'm not doing anything except for holding B. But basically, I hear this first meteor. I think I just jiggle a little bit to the left. Not too much adjustments there. And then I hear myself land right here. And then I basically go for a hard left for a little bit, just so I can skip that hole. And then I'll hear the next meteor right here, and then I go hard right. And then I just let go, and I just cruise along again. And then right here, once I hear the second building slam, I go for a hard left again. I keep holding left until I hit this meteor, I let go. Wait for myself to hit the next meteor, and then I just keep jiggling to the left until I get into the cutscene. So there it is, that's the cutscene, so now I'm good to go. And then basically this part is like the easiest part of the game. It's just a time attack. You're just pressing buttons. So there you go. The first one is just a B mash. Nothing too special right there. Then here's an A mash. Not even an A mash, it's just one A press. And then the next one's going to be a B mash into a B mash with a control stick mash as well. And then that is going to be the run. Gonna turn it up for the epicness. There you go. Holy. And that is time right there. Unfortunately,
Nice.
my splitting was
Holy
not
crap.
proper. But basically that was a 202.59, and yeah, that's the whole entire run.
Damn, 203.
That run is honestly pretty good. Like that was a pretty insane run, in my opinion. I still want it to be better though. I eventually do want to hit that 2 hours, sub 2 hour run right there. Like get that 159. My current sum of best I think is actually 155. So that's just the run right there. Like I enjoyed myself actually watching myself do that run. Like I can see the improvements that I could have done that run. Um, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed the commentary because I would love to be able to do this again whenever I do get my sub 2 hour run because I expect my sub 2 hour run to look awesome. Like maybe a few mistakes here and there, but nothing that would screw me over, honestly. So yeah, that is my speedrunning blindfolded speedrun any percent right there. So I hope y'all enjoy it. I'd love to do this commentary again later on whenever I do get that